Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Gary Neville admits he's been shocked by 25-year-old Arsenal player. Gary Neville has now admitted that Aaron Ramsdale has surprised him since joining Arsenal from Sheffield United a few years ago. Neville was speaking to Ian Wright on the first episode of Stick to Football when he made the claim about Ramsdale. Wright was speaking about the goalkeeper's trajectory at Arsenal when discussing the situation with David Raya. Wright said, "When you look at Ramsdale's journey into Arsenal, when we were signing him, people were laughing at us." Neville then replied, "He has surprised me." Ian Wright did then continue to comment that Ramsdale has been a huge reason as to why Arsenal have had success under Mikel Arteta. Of course, some fans may be wondering why Ramsdale's exclusion has been such a huge debate, and that is perhaps because of the emotion that Arsenal fans have attached to the England international. As Wright points out, Ramsdale has been a key figure of Arsenal's resurgence in recent years, and his character has embodied the new era. Neville labelled Ramsdale's form at Arsenal a surprise, and it has been. Very few fans imagined the keeper would become a cult hero of this era. Similarly, fans would be surprised if Ramsdale were to then leave in the coming months. However, that's something Jamie Carragher is confident about. Carragher was speaking on the same episode of Stick to Football and had already decided that Mikel Arteta will choose to sell Ramsdale. There is, of course, a lot of options floating around, but only Arteta and Ramsdale will know the reality. Arsenal travel to Brentford in the EFL Cup tonight, and Ramsdale should get a chance back in the side. Ramsdale has already proved doubters like Neville wrong in the past, and it now seems like he needs to do it all over again at Arsenal. Journalist explains Mikel Arteta's promise to David Raya. David Raya is Mikel Arteta's preferred first-team goalkeeper. That's according to journalist and CaughtOffside columnist Ben Jacobs, who certain the Spanish shot-stopper has taken Aaron Ramsdale's place as the Gunners' number one. Having been signed from Brentford earlier this summer, initially on loan, but with a reported £27 million option to buy included, Raya, 28 years old, was expected to rival Ramsdale. However, starting in 3 consecutive games, including last week's Champions League group opener against PSV, momentum appears to be with the 28-year-old, leaving Ramsdale's future at the Emirates uncertain. And explaining why he isn't shocked at Arteta's recent team selections, Jacobs has revealed how the former Brentford keeper was told a different story to the one his manager has continually told reporters. He said, "It's no huge surprise David Raya has taken Aaron Ramsdale's spot in goal. Mikel Arteta may constantly speak in public about the pair competing on a week-by-week basis, but Raya was told a different story when he joined. The Spanish keeper played every game for Brentford last season and wouldn't have moved without some guarantees. He wouldn't spend much of the season on the bench. The number one spot at Arsenal is clearly Raya's to lose." Roy Keane admits there is a lot of things he doesn't like about one Arsenal. Roy Keane has now admitted that there is one or two things that may annoy him about Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta right now. The Manchester United man was speaking on the first episode of Stick to Football and mentioned that Mikel Arteta's behavior had irritated him. Keane did commend Arteta on his work done at Arsenal, but pointed out that his celebrations were over the top. Keane said, "Arteta is a lot of things I don't like, but obviously he is doing a good job there. But sometimes you look at the stuff and you think that is over the top. I think when there is 28 staff hugging each other and the bus driver and the chef are joining in, you are thinking, hold on a second." Roy Keane obviously isn't shy to a bit of controversy, and his words may unsettle an Arsenal fan or two. However, those fans may console themselves that Arteta and Arsenal do at least have something to celebrate. Mikel Arteta's celebrations are flamboyant, but that passion does seem crucial to the ethos at the club. Of course, Arteta and Arsenal will probably be more focused on their trip to Brentford tonight rather than Kane's comment. Despite only being a couple of months into the season, Arsenal are already enduring something of an injury crisis. Declan Rice and Bukayo Saka being the latest big names to fall against Tottenham Hotspur on the weekend. It will reportedly be a much changed Arsenal side in the Carabao Cup for a very tricky away fixture. Emil Smith-Rowe and Jakub Kivior being two of the standout names to come in, and Arsenal fans will surely be more than happy to see Arteta celebrating in any style at the end of the game tonight, even if it may anger Roy Keane. Chelsea actually made last-minute move to sign a special Arsenal player this summer. Chelsea tried to make a last-minute move to sign Arsenal midfielder Emil Smith-Rowe this summer. A report from The Telegraph has shared more details about the 23-year-old's future. It's not been an easy time at Arsenal for Emil Smith-Rowe. Mikel Arteta has continually talked about how much he loves the England international. However, injuries have scuppered his time at the club, and he failed to start a league game throughout the entirety of last season. He is surely set to start in the EFL Cup this evening against Brentford as Arteta rotates his side, although he would have been frustrated that despite injuries to Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard at the weekend, he wasn't given the nod. Chelsea sensed an opportunity at the end of the transfer window and wanted to sign Smith-Rowe. Arsenal didn't even entertain the conversation and were in no mood to strengthen one of their rivals. Although he is not playing much at the Emirates right now, it's hard to imagine he'd be any happier trying to help Chelsea through their struggles right now. The report from The Telegraph suggests there were serious questions to be answered in the summer about Smith Rowe's future at Arsenal. He was barely playing and, at one point, was even substituted on and off the pitch in one match last season. Arsenal then signed Kai Havertz from Chelsea with the intention of playing him in Smith Rowe's position. This only raised further questions about his future, but still, Arsenal were in no mood to sell. The special playmaker has a huge future ahead of him, but his development is being stunted by a lack of competitive minutes. It's hard to see where he features for Arsenal right now, except for in cup games. Fabio Vieira appears to have jumped up the pecking order this season, even being selected ahead of Havertz. Unless Smith Rowe puts in a world class performance this evening, it's hard to see him breaking into the side anytime soon. Irregular cameo appearances off the bench simply won't be enough for Smith Rowe going forward. Mikel Arteta now says outstanding Arsenal player is an injury doubt. Arsenal have some big games coming up, but there is now fear that Bukayo Saka may not be available according to manager Mikel Arteta. Arsenal played out a very entertaining 2-2 draw against Tottenham in the Premier League last weekend, and it was probably a fair result. Saka was key for the Gunners as he managed to score a penalty and also was crucial for the first goal Arsenal scored as his shot was deflected in by Christian Romero. Now Arteta has provided a somewhat out-of-the-blue injury update on Saka, and it's not what Arsenal fans will want to hear. Coming up for the Gunners is a Carabao Cup game against Brentford and then a Premier League match against Bournemouth. Both are this week. Speaking about Saka, journalist Sam Dean reported that Arteta said, "He has not been able to participate in training since the derby. It's a possibility that he is unavailable for the Bournemouth game. This is definitely not good news for the club, and it would be a big blow if the outstanding winger has indeed suffered an injury. This is even more of a blow when Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli are also both out with injuries as well. It leaves Arsenal with minimal options on the wing and could impact them in their matches heavily over the week. What the squad do have, though, is versatility. Players like Chris Nelson and Gabriel Jesus can play on the right wing, so Mikel Arteta does still have good options." Arsenal player was in increasing pain on Sunday night after derby. His movement became restricted. The pain Declan Rice was feeling in his back after the North London derby worsened on Sunday to the point where the Arsenal midfielders' movement became restricted. That's according to a report from the Daily Mail, which does note that the Gunners are yet to rule the 24-year-old out of their next Premier League game against Bournemouth this weekend. Declan Rice joined the lengthy injury list at the weekend as he came off for Arsenal at half-time during their North London derby draw with Tottenham at the Emirates. It was a big blow for the Gunners, and the frustration was compounded by his replacement, Jorginho, being the man to lose the ball for Tottenham's second equaliser shortly after Mikel Arteta's man had retaken the lead. Arsenal hope that Rice's back injury is not serious, but the Daily Mail reports that the pain did get worse as Sunday went on. In fact, it got to the stage where the midfielder's movement was restricted. It's encouraging that the Gunners are hopeful that Rice will not be out for long. He has already established himself as such an important player to Arteta's side, with Thomas Partey also sidelined. It's a big blow for Arsenal to lose Rice now. The pair have been two of the best holding midfielders in the Premier League over the last few years. It already feels as though Arsenal need to be nearly perfect if they are going to contend for the title this season, and not having both Partey and Rice would obviously dent those hopes of getting back to winning ways as soon as possible. But Arsenal will also be wary of rushing Rice back too soon if there is any danger of aggravating the injury further. Arsenal now reportedly in talks to sign a player who once said Gunners' star is so underrated. Arsenal fans hoping to see a new striker arrive in one of the coming windows will have been given a lift by the reports claiming that talks have already been held over a potential move for Aston Villa star Ole Watkins. Football Transfers claimed this week that Edu has spoken with the forwards agents about a possible deal, with the Gunners said to prefer the 27-year-old over someone like Ivan Toney. Arsenal are not the only team interested in Watkins, with the report noting that Chelsea are also admirers of the former Brentford star. Meanwhile, 90 Minutes has suggested that Aston Villa are now confident of agreeing a new contract with him. The good news is that the Gunners may have a couple of advantages. As noted by Football Transfers, Ollie Watkins was a boyhood Arsenal fan, and it seems he would relish the chance to play alongside some of those already in Mikel Arteta's squad. Watkins has worked alongside a number of Arsenal players when called up for England, and in 2021, he suggested that he was particularly impressed by one international teammate who made the move to the Emirates earlier this year. He said, Declan Rice as well, who I think is massively underrated. I think he is like a Rolls Royce, and that says it all really. Obviously, the England team seems to be a lot closer now than they used to be when they would often stick with their club teammates, so getting the chance to play alongside more of them at club level may not be as much of a factor when Watkins comes to decide about his future. But clearly, Watkins has been a huge fan of Rice, and he has continued to get better in the last couple of years. He has made a superb start to life with Arsenal. So, that may be one of a number of considerations which plays a small part in Watkins' thinking should Arsenal follow up their interest with a concrete move. Manager of extraordinary Arsenal target has spoken out when quizzed about his future. Arsenal have been heavily linked with striker Ivan Toney, and his manager Thomas Frank was quizzed on speculation around his future. Arsenal have now become a team who are battling near the top again, and this has seen them constantly try to improve their squad. Reports have said that Ivan Toney is a target, and this is no shock due to the fact that he is one of the top strikers in the Premier League. Now, Brentford manager Thomas Frank has spoken out on the future of the player after being questioned about Toney. The extraordinary forward would be great for an Arsenal side who lack a top consistent finisher. They have good strikers like Eden Ketia and Gabriel Jesus, but Toney is definitely more prolific. After being asked about reports of Arsenal stepping up their interest in Toney, Frank spoke about what he expects to happen in the January transfer window. He said, in January, I don't know. The only thing I'm focusing on is the game. Of course, we are preparing transfer windows ahead, so of course we are looking not only at striker, option at fullback, we have prepared for any position if something should happen. I think it's fair to say that if we wanted a striker in the summer, we could have tried to get one, so that's it. Last season in the Premier League, Tony managed 20 goals in 33 appearances, and this is a great tally for the player. This sort of tally is exactly why Arsenal want to sign him, and he would definitely be a top signing for the club in January. He could be just what they need for the last half of the season in order to help them either win the title or other trophies, depending on how they are doing. With him also 27 years old, he could be a vital forward for many years. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.